Alright. War number 3. We're facing ISO8a. I think that's it. Another very tough alliance, but of course that's what we'll be facing this season if you want to reach Masters. So in section 1, I've got Killmonger and then a Terrax. Of course, this is just Omega Red food. Oh well, Killmonger at least is Terrax. I wouldn't call it Omega Red food. It's more something for Clairvoyant, who I did bring, but yeah, I'm still taking that as well with Omega Red. So it's Pet 2 in section 1. Basically, you have a certain amount of hits, specific hits you can do, and if you run out of those specific hits, then the opponent gains some Furies. Killmonger with 15-14 Furies, as you can see here, does a lot of damage on block. But yeah, so unless you throw a special, you reset it, right? But I don't want to throw specials with Omega Red. I'm just thinking, well, I will melt him even if he gets some Furies. As long as I don't get hit, it will just be some chip damage through block. And normally I shouldn't block that much either at that stage, right? At the start, of course, but that's before he gets those Furies. Here I was thinking if I use like Claire or Omega Red, I just pop on a combat region boost. They're now very accessible, so I just pop it on to counter some of his rock field damage, because I also was thinking, well, that probably scales with those passive Furies, and I'm also not planning to throw specials. So, but he did not throw that many specials, I think, in this fight. But I am, because I don't want him to throw specials as well, I'm kinda reparrying, which means that the first hit on my block with like 7, 8, now 9 Furies will do quite some damage, right? But he did not throw a single special that fight, so that's awesome. But of course, on that node where his Furies are building up, it can be annoying, because the trick to not make an opponent throw specials is to immediately block and reparry. Either way, the fight is down and I'm still at like 87% health, so no biggie. Of course, third war, we have a win and a loss. I'm still boosting for every fight. I mean, I think I will boost for every fight actually this season, but it just depends how hard I boost. Now we got the Silver Surfer on EMP mod, and this is the first fight with this defense tactic high ground that I'm facing. And basically the plan was to just ignore the EMP mod, because the thing with, well, in my opinion, with Silver Surfer, or with my experience, is that he does not throw his specials immediately. It's very hard to bait his specials or even avoid his specials without triggering decks. So basically I'm thinking, okay, let's just take that EMP mod damage on the chin. I also will heal a little bit from willpower from the armor breaks. I should be totally fine eating a little bit of like that passive shock damage. And I can go into bleed mode as well to heal some up, which I do here. So my first SP2 was incinerate mode just to do as much damage. Then I saw, oh well, my next SP2 will probably get him, maybe. So yeah, I decided to go to bleed mode, but then I saw, oh shit, I'm draining my power because of the EMP. No, not EMP mod, but also the other node here, Burden of Might, right? So if I dex and then hit him, I lose power. So yeah. And then, as you can see in this fight, I'm ignoring the EMP mod, but I'm also ignoring the defense tactic. So at certain times, because of his timer, he gains that altitude charge, and that altitude charge makes him do some extra damage on block. And I'm not 100% sure if it's energy damage, but also on that node, the energy damage you do, like you do bonus energy damage, so it would even be harder, or he would even hit harder on your block on parries. But Claire is so good for this defense tactic, because the defense tactic works like Void's debuffs. It means that if he has or if the opponent has a charge or whatever, every time you go over a 10 hit threshold, you get rid of it. So instead of getting rid of the debuff or debuff passive at first against Void, you get rid of it on the opponent. And yeah, Claire special 2, I think, is 10 hits. Well, I will count here as well, just to be sure. So yeah, I'm not risking anything because Magneto is also affected by the high ground defense tactic. So I've got 19 and then boop, 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 boop. Okay, so it's 17, so it's 8 hits. 27, I mean. So yeah, 8 hits, but that's a lot of hits, and you can get over like a 10 hit threshold. I mean, with every special 2 basically. And that's why she's so good for it. I'm not sure if I go to... Yeah, no, I stay in Incinerate mode. I'm still... This war, I'm forgetting if I am using the... if I am using her Claire after. But I probably should have gone in... oh yeah, well... I thought I would probably finish him in Incinerate mode special 2, but it did not. Otherwise, I would have gone into Bleed mode to heal a little bit up, right? But then I finished at the end with an Intercept, so he had an altitude charge and an Intercept also removes it. And there I guess I just played well and got a good Intercept off, so he never got a hit on me. Well, I say a hit on me, but it also triggers through block, right? So if you parry, you also get that energy damage on you. Well, I say energy, I'm not actually sure if it's energy damage. Either way, just the regular damage you get on your block and parry from that defense tactic. I didn't get that fight because I got over the 10 hit combo thresholds with my special 2 often, as well as I got a nice intercept off when Magneto had that altitude charge. Then we got Kingpin on Buffet, a fight I've done, I think, plenty of times previous seasons, not affected by the defense tactic. Just want to get my degen on my sports with Omega Red, really the basics. Here I did Dex, which I'm trying not to do a lot on Buffet with Omega Red, and I can actually avoid triggering Dex against his special one, but yeah, I failed just because I reacted, I guess, late, or I just reacted normal. Like, you have to kinda, I guess, react differently if you don't want to trigger Dex. It's basically the same like it used to be against Dormammu, where you want to shadow evade, right? I just Dex normally, right? But that's not a bad thing with Omega Red, especially if your Omega Red is rank 3, if you're boosted. A rank 3 Kingpin, a rank 2 Kingpin, I don't know what it was, it won't do much. As long as you're not constantly triggering Buffet and whatever, or get hit, right? Yeah, so then I had this Buffet Captain Marvel. Was waiting on a little bit of energy, it was my bad. I moved to Kingpin, I boosted up to do Kingpin, and then I saw, shit, I don't have enough energy to reach Captain Marvel, but it was only 5 minutes off. So, right, I waited 5 minutes and then my boost was still on. So here I just want to go to poison mode because she's poison immune, means that I can get a lot of power before those charges go off, right? Now I did get one charge because I did do a heavy, which, I mean, you have 2 heavies, but after your second heavy, you immediately gain like that power reduction thingy, right? But the nice thing as well with Clairvoyant is that your SP2 steals power, so you get a little bit power back again. So during this fight, I only have 2 of those power drain thingies on me, but at the same time, I don't need to do any specials. It just makes it faster, as well as that it helps with the altitude charge, or with the defense tactics rather. As you can see, she did get that altitude charge under her health bar, meaning that the next parry I do or blocked hit I take, I get bonus damage on me, or done to me. But yeah, the SP2 there really helps a lot, and I was actually surprised that I could do that I did steal that much power to get like 2 special 2 back to back without doing the alternate combo or whatever, etc. Right, just with me being in poison mode, right? Okay, then we got this CGR. That was the day after. Basically, reapply boost. I've done this fight with Omega Red. The nice thing with Omega Red is that you got that permanent willpower healing from the armor break. With Claire, you don't have that, but with Claire, at least you can parry. So here I'm baiting a heavy or a full combo on my block. To go, and then I go into poison mode, and now I'm in poison mode. I end with a medium, so he get poisoned, so now I can parry him. But he was playing a little bit, well, I wouldn't say weird, but like kind of passive, so I didn't get like 2 parries when I could stun him, because normally if the timer is off, like here's the timer is off, now I could get like 2-3 parries off, get a lot of damage in, but the first time that was not the case. Here I did get a parry off, then did a heavy, because it's also stun vulnerability, which is awesome. And that's also why there is a wide Magneto pre-fight on it, because it gives me more attack, but also a little bit longer parry duration. But with Claire, I like to just heavy to maximize damage, especially if I crit. So I just parry. With a regular parry, I could also still heavy it and got the stun vulnerability bonus. Right, but either way, quick fight. And honestly, it's hard to mess up on that fight. I mean, I know you can accidentally parry. That's the main thing you need to be aware of that fight, I think. That you don't stun him even though he's poisoned, because if he's poisoned and the stun shield goes on cooldown, it doesn't go off cooldown just because he's poisoned. No, you need to reapply a poison to get the stun shield off cooldown, right? But okay. Then this fight was first assigned to someone else, but I was still boosted, or I asked before I did CGR, asked if I could do this fight, because the other one had to boost just for this fight, which was like, why should he boost for this fight when Claire can do this fight easily as well. Red Goblin, I've done it a lot with Clairvoyant just in quests, and you can't forget he is Incinerate immune, which is always what you want with Clairvoyant. You want someone that is bleed or poison or Incinerate immune, just to give you a lot of power. And that's basically what happened. So he also gets affected by the defense tactic. But yeah, as you can see, I went into Incinerate mode, then got to my SP2, then fight off the SP2, and yeah, it's like, I think it's 2 SP2s basically, right? So I don't know what the noise is. It's from a special one, but it is like weirdly pitched, or at least in my ear. Anyways, I hope it's not weirdly pitched for you guys. But yeah, it was basically 2 SP2s and he was done, and the defense tactic basically fully ignored. Unfortunately, we did lose with only 1 death difference. Definitely not our worst war against like a very tough alliance, but I do think we aim to do better. But at least we did not give up so much or so many deaths in War 2 against AGTG, right? But yeah, I do think as well that we will see a lot of like close wars like this, or even ties, because I think the defense tactic has become way easier, so deaths will be even more rare than before. So yeah, we'll see what happens. War 3 definitely a must. War 4 actually definitely a must win, but we'll see what happens there in the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.